Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 10.1.2 on pivot chords. So a pivot chord is any chord that can function in more than one key. And we're going to restrict our definition further for now to a triad that functions diatonically in two closely related keys. So a pivot chord for now has to be a triad that is diatonic, it fits in the key signature, of two closely related keys. So if we think about E major and A major, back here, we said those are closely related keys. Cool. So let's see what pivot chords exist between those two keys. So if we think about our diatonic chords in E major, you have one that's an E major. Does that also work in A? Well, yeah, because that's the definition of closely related. It's a 5 chord in A. We have an F sharp minor chord, that's our 2, and it's also a 6 in A, so that's also a pivot chord. We have a minor 3. Ooh, that doesn't fit in A because of that D sharp. We have a major 4, which is tonic. We have a major 5, which again has a D sharp, so it doesn't match. In A major, if you have a chord based on B, that would be B minor with a D natural. Our 6 chord C sharp minor, that's good. That's the same as 3 in A. And then we have a D sharp diminished. Well, we know there's no D sharp in A major, so that doesn't match. But we have 4 possible pivot chords. Cool. The reason we care about this is that we can use them to modulate smoothly from one key to another. This will be our smoothest option out of the 4 because 2 and 6 can both function as predominant chords, and both triads are pretty common. 3 is not as common. 4 and 1, predominant, tonic, tonic, dominant. So those are different areas of the basic phrase model. It'll still work, just won't be quite as smooth. When you're analyzing a piece of music, our ears assume that it's going to just stay in the same key unless it gets information to suggest otherwise. So when we're doing our analysis, we want to analyze in the first key as long as possible and then only switch when we need to. So let's do an example here. This is a minuet by Elisabetta de Gambarini. So let's take a listen first. Okay, second part of that phrase. Cool. So if we go through our first phrase here, it's all pretty clearly, it starts off clearly in A major. Okay, that's an A major chord. 7 diminished, 6, back to 1, and then predominant. And we cadence back on 1 in imperfect authentic cadence right there. Then we keep going. Starts out in the same way. This is feeling like a period. Ooh, that's different. And specifically, this is a D sharp in it. That doesn't fit in A major. So we say, well, we're probably going somewhere else. But first, let's confirm where we're going. So, okay, funky. And we've ended in E major. Does it make sense for D sharp to be in E major? Yeah, that makes sense, because that's part of the key of E major. So we're heading towards E major. And remember, we want to keep going on in our first key, A, as long as possible. So definitely that whole first phrase. And then, yes, that's still plausibly in A. That is not plausibly in A, because there's no D sharp in the key of A major. So that's going to be in our new key, and we back up 1 to find the pivot chord. We go as far as we can. Whoop, we hit a roadblock. Boop, 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 boop. We back up 1 chord, and we really hope that that's a pivot chord. There are other modulation techniques. We'll talk about them later. So here we have an F sharp minor chord. Well, that functions in A. That's a 6 chord. And it functions in E as a 2 chord. And then we can keep analyzing the rest in E major. And here we have a perfect authentic cadence. So this is a period, and in fact it's a modulating period, which we discussed as a possibility way back when. Now we have the ability to analyze them. So when we're doing a key change, what we do is just kind of bracket off where the new key is, indicate what the new key is, and then just keep analyzing in the new key. So that's what's going on here. Check out some examples of your own, and I'll see you next time.